Well, there's no way around it. We have elected an anti-science climate denier to office, and this could have huge repercussions for not just the next 4 years, but the next hundreds, maybe thousands after that, if we are to believe his very own words on what he will do. I have been getting a lot of people tweeting to me, wait, just give him a chance, see what he'll do. All we have to do is, crazily enough, judge a man by his words and actions. And since there aren't very many actions currently, all we have are words. You take this little beautiful baby and you pump. We had so many instances, people that work for me just the other day, 2 years old, a beautiful child, went to have the vaccine and came back, and a week later got a tremendous fever, got very, very sick, now is autistic. This comes from the Republican presidential debate on September 16th, 2015. And this relies on the casual claim that there is a link between vaccines and autism. This relies on a study that was later found to be fraudulent and was indeed retracted. This was also funded by lawyers who were seeking to make money off of vaccine companies for parents of children who were autistic. It was a study of nearly 100,000 children, in the American Medical Association found there was no increased risk for autism based on vaccines, and it has been found to be conclusively a false link, and to continually say that is not relying on facts as information. On light bulbs and cancer. Remember, new, quote, environment-friendly light bulbs can cause cancer. Be careful. The idiots who came up with this stuff don't care. Keep in mind, though, this did come from 2012. However, I think it still counts as being as on the record as can possibly be at this point. So while incandescent light bulbs do contain some amount of mercury, the total quantity is 600 times less than the amount in a traditional thermometer, and those go in your mouth and your butt, whereas most light bulbs do not. It is there, but that's not enough to cause cancer in a person, which is, again, just inciting fear, or I don't know. And what was he doing in 2012? Just trying to get Twitter followers? On fracking. Fracking poses zero, all caps, health risks. In fact, it increases our national security by making us energy independent. Please tell that to anyone who has had any water that was poisoned by the result of fracking. While a lot of studies are not necessarily conclusively in the court of this being a severe health risk, to call it zero is an overstatement, or perhaps an understatement if we're looking at the other way. Fact is that people who live near fracking wells are more than twice as likely to report skin and respiratory problems, and some studies have shown a correlation. Keep in mind, I said correlation, between proximity to wells and increased hospital admissions, low birth weights, respiratory disorders, skin disorders, and other illnesses.
You want to educate the American people about science and its relevance today. Do you believe in evolution, sir?
I believe in evolution? I embrace the view that God created the heavens and the earth and the seas and all that's in them.
Right, but do you believe in evolution as the way he did it?
The means, Chris, that he used to do that, I can't say, but I do believe in that fundamental truth.
Did you take biology in school? Did you take science, which is all based on evolutionary belief and assumption?
Well, and then, speaking before Congress, Mike Pence has once said, Charles Darwin never thought of evolution as anything other than a theory. He hoped that someday it would be proven by the fossil record, but did not live to see that, nor have we. And now that we have recognized evolution as a theory, I would simply and humbly ask, can we teach it as such, and can we consider teaching other theories as to the origin of species? This sounds a lot like when we had Ken Ham and Bill Nye in a debate against each other, which is a categorical misunderstanding of the theory in the scientific term. A scientific theory is not just someone's idea without base that has been thrown out there. It's a broad explanation for a wide range of phenomena supported by many lines of evidence. Scientists have 150 years of data that would definitely confirm Charles Darwin's ideas of evolution. Right here it says it's not proven by the fossil record. It is absolutely proven by a fossil record. What we have is a man who is looking at this with confirmation bias of, similar in the vein of Ken Ham, which is, I refuse to recognize this as evidence, and also I'm going to submit this completely illogical argument that does not rely on the same amount of data and practical information that you are, and consider it to be on equal bearing. It categorically isn't. And then we also have the idea of why don't we consider teaching other theories as to the origin of species? That's a completely different take on the word theory. It cannot be presented as the same, and it cannot break the religion in school rules that we've had for so long just because you like it. I didn't forget the biggest one. I'm getting into it right now, and that is climate change. Donald Trump has made it very clear. Well, let me show you some quotes. "I'm not a big believer in man-made climate change." This is an interview in September 21st, 2015. On Fox and Friends this year, he says, "Well, I think the climate change is a very, very expensive form of tax. A lot of people are making a lot of money." And on May 26th, "We're going to cancel the Paris Climate Agreement." So he's also called climate change a Chinese hoax, which is crazy because China is currently choking on massive amounts of air pollution and is, well, we'll get to what they're actually doing about it. And we also have Myron Ebel, an avowed climate change denier, is going to head the EPA transition team. The EPA is in serious trouble, if not getting pared down, maybe depowered completely. I'm not really clear yet on what's going to happen, which is a dangerous thing that we're all not really clear about on a lot of things besides just using words or promises as much evidence as we can possibly have. It does look like he's going to try to undo everything President Obama has done to briefly make the U.S. a leader in green technologies and clean emissions. And it's not really clear what he's going to do with the Paris Agreement, because while it will take 4 years to withdraw from that, it's possible that that could be ignored, at which point I would like to recommend everyone donate money to the ACLU. He said pretty clearly he wants to repeal all spending or all federal spending on clean energy, including R&D for wind, solar, nuclear power, and electric vehicles, which does require Congress, but it's not impossible, clearly, at this point. And then there's also the idea that it doesn't matter what you say because the economics of renewable energy will move forward as is. For instance, wind power, solar power, and electric cars are continually getting cheaper. And as long as they're striking up momentum in the business world, even if there isn't federal help, they could still very likely propel forward on their own the way the economy works, which he loves so much. There's also the idea further down the line, which is if it's economically salient in his point of view, then there's nothing that he would want to do to stop these innovations and ideas from happening. It was, maybe helping the environment is a side effect of being more economically superior. Also, it's not really clear what the rest of the world will do if we clearly have someone who is opposed to the idea of man-made climate change in charge. They could very well follow him, or they could very well continue to work in their own interests. For instance, China and India may have their own reasons for tackling climate change. When we have people in cities like Delhi choking on air pollution right now, it may not even matter at that point what someone thousands of miles away thinks. So there's a lot of stuff possible. There's a lot of stuff possible and clearly present and definitely a danger. But this is going to continue to be a defining policy that we have to pay attention to for the generations to come after Donald Trump is long gone. It does seem unlikely that we're going to stay under a 2 degrees Celsius shift, which would be, beyond that would be the irreversible climate change breaking point, if you will. And it's not over. It's definitely shifted, but it's not over, and that fight should not be considered lost. Audience, what do you expect is going to happen in the next 4 years? I'm worried. Please let us know what you think below in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.